All right, let's talk about the big secret in AI, the one nobody really likes to admit. Most of the work, it's not training some super cool, complex model. No, it's wrestling with data, just getting it clean. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on an awesome open source framework built to tame that chaos. It's called the Data Prep Kit.
So here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll dig into the why, the huge data challenge that AI faces. Then I'll introduce you to the Data Prep Kit, or DPK for short. We'll get right to the heart of it, which is something called transforms. After that, we'll see how this thing runs at a massive scale, check out all the cool tools it comes with, and wrap up with a little glimpse into the future, something called agentic pipelines. Sound good? Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's talk about that AI data challenge. Before you get to do any of the cool, magical AI stuff, you're faced with this mountain of a task, data preparation. People often say it's like 80% of the work. And honestly, they're not wrong. It is the foundation for everything that comes next. And man, it can be a real beast to tackle.
So, I've got a question for you. What do you think is the hardest part of building AI? Seriously. Is it designing the perfect neural network? Or maybe spending weeks tuning all those tiny hyperparameters? You'd think so, right? But nope. For most people out there in the trenches, the real fight, the real headache, is just getting the data clean and usable to begin with. And that right there, that's the exact problem the Data Prep Kit was designed to solve.
And believe me, the list of headaches is long. We're talking about these massive, messy datasets you scrape from the web. You've got a wild mix of file types, PDFs, HTML pages, chunks of source code. You got to make sure the quality is even decent, then figure out how to process it all at a crazy scale. And this is a big one, you absolutely have to find and strip out all the duplicates and any sensitive personal info. It's a colossal job.
Okay, so with all those problems in mind, let's meet the hero of our story. This is the Data Prep Kit. It's an open source framework that was built from the ground up for one specific purpose, to help you build data pipelines for AI that are scalable, totally reusable, and just plain powerful.
So, what is it, really? At its heart, DPK is a Python-based framework. The whole idea is that you apply a series of operations, and the key word here is transforms, to your messy input data. The goal? To spit out clean, structured files on the other side. We're often talking about super efficient formats like Parquet that are just ready to go for training your AI model. All right, to kind of get our bearings, let's peek inside the DPK code repository. Think of it like this. Data processing lid, that's the engine. Transforms is where all the cool tools live. And examples, well, that shows you how to put it all together. It's even got stuff for orchestrating big pipelines. But for today, we're going to focus on that core engine and, you guessed it, those super powerful transforms. Okay, now we're getting to the most important part, the absolute heart and soul of the Data Prep Kit. It's the transform. And I'm not kidding here. If you can wrap your head around this one simple idea, you've basically understood the entire philosophy of DPK. These are the Lego bricks, the fundamental building blocks for any pipeline you're ever going to build with this thing. So, what exactly is a transform? The best way to think about it is like a single specialized station on a factory assembly line for your data, right? It's this self-contained, totally reusable piece of code that does one specific job and does it well. Maybe its job is to clean up text or filter out certain rows, or maybe it adds some new bit of info. Each one is focused, and because of that, it's really, really powerful.
And what's so beautiful about this? It's how simple it is. Every single one of these table-based transforms follows the exact same three-step pattern. You've got init, which is just for setting things up. Then you have transform, which is the main workhorse that processes each chunk of data. And finally, flush, which is just a little cleanup step for anything that's left over at the very end. It's such a simple, elegant pattern, but man, is it effective.
Okay, so that's the theory. But let's look at some actual code so this isn't so abstract. This little snippet here, it's from a super simple digest transform. All it's doing is creating a unique fingerprint, a hash, for a piece of text. Look, it just initializes the algorithm, feeds it the text, and saves the result. It's just a couple lines of Python. But here's the magic. By wrapping this simple logic inside the DPK framework, it suddenly becomes this powerful, scalable, and reusable tool you can plug into any pipeline.
All right, so you've built your awesome little transform. Now what? How do you actually run it? Well, this is another really cool part of DPK. It gives you different runtimes to execute your pipeline. This means you get to pick the right engine for the job, whether you're just messing around on your laptop or you need to process a petabyte of data on a giant cluster. And this is probably the key takeaway for this section, the sheer flexibility. You can start small, right on your own machine, using the basic Python runtime to test things out. But then, when you're ready to go big, you can just flip a switch and run the exact same code on Ray for massive distributed processing, or on Spark if you're already in that world. And here's the best part. You don't have to change a single line of your core transform logic. That's a game changer.
So, we get the building blocks, the transforms, and we know how to run them at any scale. Now, let's zoom out and look at the universe of possibilities this opens up. Because the Data Prep Kit doesn't just give you a framework, it comes packed with a huge ecosystem of pre-built transforms that you can use right out of the box.
Let's do a quick lightning round. You need to get rid of duplicate documents in your dataset? Bam, there's a transform for that. It's called EDDU, for exact deduplication. This is like step number 1 for getting good quality data.
Next up, worried about privacy? You should be. The PII redactor transform is your best friend here. It automatically scans your text and gets rid of all that personally identifiable information. We're talking names, email addresses, phone numbers. Absolutely critical.
And it gets specialized too. Let's say you're training a model that writes code. Well, there's a code quality transform that can actually analyze source code, score its quality, and help you make sure you're only training your model on the good stuff. Okay, and this is where it all clicks. You take these individual transforms and you chain them together to build really powerful, sophisticated pipelines. Let's take a real-world example, building our RAG system, for retrieval augmented generation. You could have one transform that just pulls text out of PDFs. The next one in the chain deduplicates all that content. A third one splits the text into nice small chunks, and a final one turns those chunks into vector embeddings for searching. See, each step is just a simple reusable DPK transform all linked together.
All right, to wrap things up, let's take a look over the horizon at where this is all going. There's a really cutting-edge piece of the Data Prep Kit that hints at a future where data engineering is less about writing code and more about having a conversation. This is the world of agentic pipelines.
The documentation itself says it best. The idea is to enable the data engineer to, and I'm quoting here, efficiently build and run pipelines that perform required tasks defined by a natural language. Just think about that. Instead of you writing the pipeline code, an AI agent listens to your request in plain English, figures out what you need, and builds the DPK pipeline for you. It's a huge shift from coding the how to just describing the what. So I want to leave you with this one big question. What if building these incredibly complex, scalable data pipelines was as easy as just asking? What if you could just describe what you want and it happens? That's the mind-blowing vision that tools like the Data Prep Kit are pushing us toward. It's about transforming the hardest, most tedious part of AI into something that feels creative and maybe even a little bit like magic.